It might not be fair, but BioShock Infinite is a game that, for a lot of folks I know, is being looked to as a savior for a first-person shooter genre that has gone stale and predictable. That's what BioShock 1 accomplished back in 2007 near the beginning of the console generation, and that's what many are hoping BioShock Infinite will do again at the end of it. And it's fitting that Infinite takes place in the Cloud City of Columbia, because the sky is exactly where its ambitions lie. It will make you giddy to see just how high its successes will take you.
Hey! Knock it off! Stop it! Will you stop it?
Like the failed underwater utopia of Rapture before it, Columbia is drop-dead gorgeous to look at. A vibrant color palette practically ignites the screen, detailed with gorgeous architecture and distant vistas. Columbia is a rich, developed setting, more so than almost any other game I can think of, particularly when playing on PC. If anything, it's too ambitious for the Xbox and PlayStation 3. Infinite's graphics prove tough for the aging console hardware to keep up with. They have the same large-scale levels as the PC edition, but at the cost of low-quality textures that look muddy by Xbox and PS3 standards, and a frame rate that occasionally stutters. Provided you have a substantial gaming rig, Columbia is best traversed with a mouse and keyboard.
Telegram for you, sir.
The story, of course, is a huge draw to BioShock, and Infinite doesn't disappoint. It starts simple, with your Booker DeWitt tasked with traveling to Columbia to find a teenage girl named Elizabeth and bring her to New York in order to pay off a debt. Naturally, things get progressively weirder from there without ever making your eyes roll. As for the big twist, Infinite doesn't have the same advantage BioShock 1 did, in that this time around, you're expecting a big plot twist. So the whole time you're playing, you'll be looking for it. Where's the twist? Where is it? I'm ready! And without spoiling anything, just know that it will come, but you won't be ready. When the safe door on Infinite's biggest secrets finally cracked open, my jaw hit the floor. At first glance, and in fact in its early hours, Infinite plays a lot like the first BioShock. The plasmids are now called Vigors, but they do pretty much the same thing. That's because you haven't met Elizabeth yet. She has a suite of what are essentially superpowers, including the ability to open tears in the game world and teleport things in, like cover points, automated turrets, and more. That power's eventually explained in a cool way, and it adds a unique layer to combat that encourages variety and experimentation. You might prefer to take cover, then step out with a heavy weapon and the bucking Bronco Vigor that tosses enemies up into the air, letting you shoot them like fish in a barrel. I, meanwhile, might opt to use the Possession Vigor on the huge Patriot robot to temporarily get it to fight on my side, then crush the distracted bad guys. Infinite's other big hook is literally a hook. You may have seen the Skyhook and Skylines in any number of BioShock Infinite videos, and maybe you were skeptical, thinking it would be totally nerfed when you finally got to play it. Nope. It's here and it's awesome. I immediately fell in love with doing death from above airstrikes on grounded foes, and was pleasantly surprised at the smarts my opponents showed by using the Skylines themselves to chase me. I even love how Infinite dispenses with all the hand-holdy crap we've seen in other games without leaving you to wander around aimlessly. You won't find any tagged characters, compasses, or giant "go here" arrows in Columbia, but if you do happen to get turned around, a simple button tap temporarily paints a line on the ground that points you in the right direction. Dead Space 3 also does this, and I hope it becomes a widely adopted feature from now on. Infinite's biggest gameplay sins are too much of one thing and not enough of another. As engaging and dynamic as its combat is, the middle portion of the campaign, which I got 15 hours out of while stopping to smell all the roses, feels padded out. At several points, you'll be about to reach one destination before being told, "Oh sorry, our princess is in another castle, you have to go over there first." To To me, it felt like the same story with the same impact could have been told in a bit tighter of a package. And as for what there's not enough of, choices. Ironically, in a game with so many of them in so many places, options feel a bit limited in combat. Only 2 weapons and 2 vigors can be hotkeyed at any one time on the console, and with Infinite having so many variables and approaches to the combat, I felt pulled out of the action anytime I had to hold down one of the shoulder buttons, which pauses the game, in order to select a new gun or vigor. These are non-issues on the PC, of course. BioShock Infinite is the next step in the fascinating evolution of Irrational Games, one of the most respected developers in the video game industry. From System Shock 2 to BioShock to Infinite, the studio continues to experiment with new ways to tell stories while fusing first-person combat with emergent gameplay. So what's that mean for you? BioShock Infinite may not be the genre savior some hoped it'd be, but it fulfills most of its sky-high potential, and that makes it an adventure you shouldn't miss. For everything you could ever want to know about BioShock Infinite, you're already in the right place. IGN.